Yo, what's up, guys? Good morning. Happy Friday. Can't believe it's already Friday. These weeks seem like they're just flying by, even though we're kind of locked down. Yeah, it's just crazy that Friday is already here. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes here, let people jump on, make sure that our connection is good. Still having some internet issues. So once you start coming on, I'll start looking at the comments and seeing who is here and making sure that our connection is good. So if you are here, go ahead and let me know in the comments so I can make sure that that's all working fine. And we will get rocking and rolling. So hopefully everyone is doing well. I'll be honest, I woke up this morning with a little bit of a headache, and I think it's from the pollen. Have you ever woke up in the morning and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna have this headache all day long? And that's kind of how I woke up. But I think it's just a little bit of sinus, and I'm feeling better right now. But yeah, sometimes we wake up with that headache. I try not to take anything for it for a little while, and then if it just becomes like crazy, then I might take some ibuprofen. But I haven't taken ibuprofen in a long time, actually, since I switched over to the bulletproof stuff. Having more high fats in my diet and even just a better diet. So anyway, what's up, guys? Yes, morning, sir, from Mike. What's up, Mike? Karen, good morning to you as well. Always good to see you. Coverman or Coverme 26. Hey, Scott, what's up? Let's say Neaton or Nitten. I think that's how you pronounce your name. I forgot again, Nitten. Good morning. There is a lag. Okay. Is there a lag in my video? Justin's here. What's up, Justin? Uh, let's see. Andrea, I believe it is. Morning, Scott. How was fishing? That's a funny story because yesterday I was supposed to go back out. It's going to be day 6 of trying to catch that fish out in my pond. And yeah, yesterday I didn't. It was my son's 22nd birthday yesterday. Yeah, crazy. 22 years old. Picture's a little blurry, you're saying? Okay. Well, it could be because I'm doing this on a hotspot, so that could be the reason. So Justin says the audio is good, but the picture is blurry. Coffee time, cheers. He talking meds? Troy is a pharmacist, so that's why he is saying that. Salama, happy Friday to you as well. And let's see, Karen. I woke up with a headache too, and I live in Michigan. Yeah, it's funny. I got a good night's sleep too. I felt really good, and then I woke up with that little bit of this little bit of a headache. Coverman or Coverme 26 started listening to you 3 years ago. This month, $80,000 on Amazon. I love to hear that. Great job. Great job. Love that. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so today we are going to, we're going to kick this thing off. Again, I'm trying to keep these to 15 or 20 minutes. I got to get a little tighter. Just because we go on sometimes for 45 minutes to an hour. And I know you guys got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. And we just want to get out there and we want to conquer the day. Oh, okay. So someone just said, let's see, Mike said, guess I'm going to have to reboot. You started off, but froze up. Hope it's on my end. Be right back. Yeah. Is everybody else okay with the signal? Do I need to reboot or are we good? Let me know in the comments. Just waiting to see if any of you guys are going to chime in and let me know. There's a little bit of delay in the comments. I know that. If you guys are just tuning in, we're just getting ready to kick this off. And I'm going to be talking about getting unstuck. And I've got something I want to do. Video not clear, but can hear. Okay. Interesting. I'm wondering if I should switch over to the internet, but the problem with that is I've got less of a chance of the internet being stable right now. Like we got problems in our area. Karen says great. Huh. Okay. 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 All right. Well, as long as you can hear me, you don't need to see me. uh, okay. You good? So that must be on YouTube because I can see the YouTube symbol there for cover me 26. Mike, me back. Is it better, Mike? Let me know. Let me know if it's better. And let me know too in the comments, guys. How's everybody doing this Friday? Is everybody good? Let me know. All right? Let me know how you're doing. I want to know how you guys are doing. I don't want this to just be a one-way conversation here. I want to know how you guys are doing. Justin says, why don't you move back a bit? Oh, like this? Back here? Is that better? All right, cool. We're gonna get kicking off here. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna dive into this here, and this is my topic for the day. All right, getting unstuck. All right, and how to really trust yourself and reach your full potential. Again, this is going to go back to something that we talk about a lot here on our coffee talks. And actually, I screwed up. This is actually session 19, not session 18. This is our 19th coffee talk, which is crazy, right? Like, I decided to do this and I'm like, we'll do it a couple times, see what happens, see if people want to actually do this. Come to find out there is, a few of you that want to hang out. So I'm coming back. So here's what I want to talk about. And it was funny because I was going through, I think it was yesterday, we were going through and people were commenting about the book that I have written, which I don't talk a lot about, which I should probably talk more about. So this here, okay? And I'm going to start doing little lessons that are throughout this book and kind of dive into them a little bit. Now I have the audio book out. I have this book, you can buy it or you can go, Kindle. But even if you don't buy it, I want to share what I created here, but also I want to dig in a little bit deeper. The audio book, I do go off on some separate tangents and some random thoughts. But I was sitting there and I'm like, a lot of people struggle with the mindset. They also struggle with taking action and they struggle because they're stuck. How do we get them unstuck? So I think a lot of us feel that we don't have the ability or the skill set, or we feel like we've put in so much time, so much effort into this thing that we got to make it work. And if we kind of veer off of that a little bit, then we're going to lose everything that we did over here. Do you ever feel like that? Have you ever felt like you were at a job and you put in a lot of time, maybe even education, and you felt like, I got to make this work. I can't walk away from this, or I can't pivot from this. Have you ever felt like that? I'm just wondering, by the way. So what I want to do is I want to read a little spot here and I want to talk about it. And I'm just going to kind of just jump in and then we'll see where this goes. So in the book, I wrote this, and this was in the introductory, okay? And it basically came from a time in my life that I was thinking that I was going to own my father's company along with him one day. And then found out a few years in that probably wasn't the case. So I had put all this time in, I put all of my resources in, everything I was focusing on was to build this business to one day own it. And it's kind of like if you went to college and you went for this degree and then you got done and you're like, I don't want to do that, right? Or I can't do that because this has changed, or my vision has changed, whatever, right? So we kind of all feel like that at times. So I'm just going to kind of dive into this one spot. So I said in the book, when I realized I didn't actually want to stick around until the construction company was mine, I felt like I was looking out of a narrow scope as I looked for possibilities. The only thing I knew I could do was to work for someone and get paid. I never once thought I could leverage experience or the strength of others to build a company. After spending a lot of time in one place, we feel like we have to stay there. It took all that time to get there. So how can we possibly start over? How do we replace that income? This time, doing what we want to do. Those questions keep us stuck, but I want to pose them as a challenge to you. What do you want to do? It's a big question right there. Okay? I know it's possible for you to do it, and I'm going to show you how. So that's kind of like into the book is where I'm kind of leading through. Like, you don't have to be in this one area if you don't want to be, right? So you don't have to be stuck. Now, you might be stuck in one situation in your business because, well, I can't get over this hurdle or whatever. Well, then maybe you need to look a little bit outside of where you're focusing right now to make that happen. And, being stuck could mean a whole lot of different things, but I'm talking about like feeling stuck, like your business isn't growing. Is the business not growing because you're really not into the business? Or maybe you need to pivot in the business and maybe you're not as excited about the business anymore. Like, there's a lot of things that you could be stuck with, right? And so what I'm referring to here is like you're building this thing and then you're like, I don't love this thing anymore. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or I want to change. Or the company has downsized. I have to make a change. Or I got laid off because of this whole coronavirus. Like, whatever it is, right? All right, so I'm going to keep going here. Because here's one little blurb I put in here, which I really, really wanted people to understand when they read the book. And I want you guys to understand this too. Okay? I have faith in you. Do you? That's a big one, right? And what that basically means is I know that if someone like me can get to where I've gotten with what I've had to overcome, I know that you can do it too. I know. And I know your situation is going to be different. And I know that mine is going to be different, right? In other things that I do than someone else. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it. But you are going to have to keep checking with yourself that if you're doing is really what you're supposed to be doing, right? Now, if you're building a business right now, you're building it not because of necessarily the money, although the money will allow you the thing that you want, which most likely is freedom or time, right? I just posted a picture of my son. Let's see if I can't pull that up and I'll show you. Try to post it here, or I'll try to share it. This is on my phone. So this here, let me see if I got to move this here so I can see what I'm doing. Let's see. Yeah. So see that right there? That's my son. That's my boy. Okay. He turned 22 years old yesterday. And at that time that I was holding him, I had started working for myself. So we're going probably about 18 to maybe 20 years ago. Okay. And in that picture, I remember in my head thinking, I'm going to do whatever I can to be able to spend time with this little guy and my other kids, right? Like, that is my goal. Yes, money is going to allow that, but this here was my driver. And now that I look back, I am so, so glad that I was able to do that. Now, it wasn't always easy. I was always struggling, trying to figure out how are we going to make this work? How are we going to get more customers in our photography business? How are we going to get more people online to pay attention to our photography digital stuff when we went that route? There's always going to be those struggles, but you need to figure out what got you to where you are, because you can lean on that. You can also pull from that, right? So understand, love that picture too. Look at the bucket hat. Love it. Okay. So let me move on. I have faith in you. Do you? I'm not going to lie. This is an important moment. You're holding the take action effect because you know it's time to do something. I'm holding it. You're listening to it, right? Okay? I wrote this book because I believe in you and I believe you can do something big. The big thing that you accomplish will look different than mine, but underneath it's all the same. You want to make a living without sacrificing your freedom or getting knocked down by an unpredictable future. That's it. If you're still thinking, sure, plenty of people could make that work, but that doesn't mean I can. Have you ever felt like that? Oh, they did it because they've got resources. Oh, they did it because they know people. Oh, they did it because they got a handout. Have you ever felt like that? It's normal to feel like that, by the way. It is. And so I go on to say, let's break this down. Maybe you've got a college degree. How did you get your degree? You've done something. So the point here is for you to understand that if you're stuck, you can get yourself unstuck. You just need to identify what it is that's got you stuck and then realize you you can get yourself through that, right? Because you've already done it on other things. So you got to look back at your history and back at your past and say, what have I accomplished? What have I done? Right? And give yourself credit for that. All right? All right, so let me move on here. Okay, so maybe you've got a college degree. How did you get there? I'm sure there were times you didn't want to study. So if you went to college, then you had to study to pass these classes. And you might have doubted yourself, but you did it, right? You figured out a way. All right? There were times you didn't want to drag yourself to class, but you did. You made it. Maybe you've created a business. Were there some struggles to get past? What about the first days on your job without any experience at all, degree or no degree? How about the career you built as you climbed the corporate ladder? And did it make you succeed? Was every meeting, was that fun? Going to those meetings? No, right? Like, so there's things that you did to succeed that you didn't necessarily enjoy, but you did it, right? What about every confrontation that you've had that you did in order to get to where you wanted to go, right? It's part of that process. So again, I'm trying to allow you to see that you've already been through struggles. You've already been stuck before, but you got unstuck. How did you get it? How did you get unstuck? How did you find the solution? This is no different than this over here. It's just every time you ask a question, you'll get unstuck because you're forced to answer that question. You're forced to answer that question, right? So I'm going to wrap this up here. So let me just turn the page here. To really pull this off, you'll first have to get clear about what drives you. And I'm just going to read this one last part. For a long time, I kept thinking that what I wanted was the money. This is me talking. When I worked at the printing company, which I worked straight out of high school, by the way, I knew I could work up the ranks. Back then, a first pressman was making $70,000 to $80,000 a year, which is worth about double that in today's dollars, probably even more. Even though I started out at the printing company as a jogger, and a jogger was someone that just pulled books off the press, just moving the pieces that were coming off the machines that the pressmen were running, if I just kept working up the ranks for 4 or 6 years, that was the promise of a decent career, right? So we choose our careers based on how much money we can make and do all kinds of work to get there. Once you make it, good luck if you don't like it. You're more or less screwed. I know people who have spent 4 to 6 years and $300,000 or more on their education only to find out that it wasn't what they really wanted to do. So again, I'm going to close the book. If you are stuck and you want to create, a better business, a different business, and you're feeling stuck because you feel, I've either put all this time in here, I got to make this work. You don't have to make that work. You can pivot, okay? Now, you may have to stick with something for a little while to pay the bills, but then you can always be focusing the energy over here, all right? Now, getting unstuck could mean you're stuck trying to get results in your diet journey, right? And you can still probably go back and go, I lost weight before, how did I do it, right? And you can retrace your steps, but give yourself credit for the things that you have done, right? And so to me, getting unstuck really is about identifying what it is, and then from there, seeing and asking the right questions, but then also going back in time and going, wait a minute here. I've done this before. Maybe not this one thing, but I've gotten over these tough things before, or I've gotten unstuck before, right? So I can do it. A lot of times it's lacking the confidence. And that's why I said in the book, I believe in you. Do you? Right? So that's the question I have for you. Do you sometimes not believe in yourself? Do you think that you might not have what it takes? And it's okay if you do, but that's why these coffee talks are important, because we don't want that, right? We want people around us to say, no, you can do this. I know you can, right? And sometimes that's what we need. All right, let me get over here. Pedro, what's up? Yeah, no problem. Let's see. Mike says, I am truly fabulous. My wife is doing yard work. I told her I had to be online. That's fantastic. All right, guys. So let me ask you guys in closing here. Um, is there something that you're feeling stuck on right now? Right this second. Is there something you're feeling like that you need to figure out in order to move on with whatever you're doing? And this could be in life, this can be in business. Yeah, Justin says, getting unstuck requires acknowledging you are stuck. Yes, I think the first part is admitting it, right? And so, yes, identifying it. And then the great thing about when you identify it, then you can start to answer the questions, but you have to ask the questions, right? You got to ask the right questions. And that is really, really powerful when you can ask questions. Hassan, what's up, man? Yes, you're feeling stuck. Right. And I think I know what you're feeling stuck about, right? Like you're not sure on like, am I choosing the right market? Am I choosing the right niche? And I get it, right? But here's the cool thing about when we're doing stuff online, we can move very quickly. So I think with what you're struggling on, a lot of times it's you're overthinking it versus just getting started. So there's a lot of things that you might do that don't result in the ultimate result, right? Like the ultimate business, right? The ultimate thing that you're trying to achieve, but you're going to learn so much by going through that. So my recommendation to you or anyone that is struggling with Scott, like this one example, like Scott, I don't know the market. I don't know the right niche to go into. You need to get as much information as you can, but then from there, you just got to go for it. You got to pull the trigger, right? Now, there are ways to, like in that case, if you are going through that process, then I strongly recommend you go to brandcreators.com and download the checklist we have there, because that there will help you in that scenario. If we're talking about weight loss, I don't have a download for you on that. You know what I mean? So it just depends on what you're stuck on and what you're trying to achieve, but then trying to figure out as much as you can and validate as much as you can before you actually do the thing. But then you got to do it. You got to just put it in motion. Mike says, yes, I'm kind of doing okay, kind of stuck, trying to determine whether or not to put more time and energy into my current company or start over. Yeah. It's a big question, right? And I think what you need to do though, Mike, is probably you might need to write down like the pros and cons, right? Like what are the pros of the business? What are things that you could do in the business that would improve it? But also you got to ask yourself, is that the company that you want to be building right now, right? And I get it. If it's paying the bills, we got to keep feeding it, right? We got to keep doing it. And I've done that throughout my entire career, right? Anything that I am doing, I'm generally doing that. And then if it starts producing income, then I'm going to keep feeding it. And then I'm going to try, if there's things I don't like to do in the business, I'm going to try to, have a VA or someone do that for me, right? To take me out of the business more. And then I might start a little side project of something that I'm interested in or something that's fun to me. Like this whole Amazon, selling on Amazon, that was not something I did because I was necessarily trying to start a podcast and even just start a full-fledged e-commerce business. It was me just saying, oh, I sold stuff on eBay. I wonder if I sell stuff on Amazon, if that would be a good thing to do. And I did it. And then that kind of led me down that path. But perfect example, guys, some of you that are, well, I think it was, I forget who it was now, someone on YouTube. Let's see, Coverme26. He's been listening to me for 3 years on the podcast and has launched a business and is doing $80,000 a month now. So that's awesome. But when he or she came in and started listening to me, I was talking all about Amazon stuff, right? Primarily. Well, if you go and listen to the podcast now, it's changed, and it's changing every single month, because I'm now pivoting, and I have been pivoting because that's not as interesting to me anymore. And also the market has shifted. So I'm shifting, right? So sometimes you have to do the first thing in order to get to the second thing, right? So I think with your thing, Mike, you need to sit down and you need to break it down. Like, what is the pros? What are the cons? Is this something that I should be focusing on? Even if you have an exit plan, does that business have an exit plan? Could you focus on it for the next 12 months and know that there's an end in mind? Maybe that's something. Starting my videos stuck on fear of tech, like editing. Well, and that's an easy one to get unstuck with, Salama, is you can hire someone on Fiverr to edit your videos for you. So you don't even have to edit your videos. So, I mean, you have that too. Hassan, you are the best. Thank you, man. You're the best. No problem. And then Mike says, don't need the money, so no big pressure there. Wanting more enjoyment versus just making money. Yeah, it's a big one. And, I've dealt with that. And, even in what we're doing, like right here, like I enjoy talking with all of you and just people in general about business, but I also enjoy talking about mindset. I enjoy talking about how to get people unstuck, how to get people to take action. That's why I wrote this book. Really, it's got business in it, but it's also got mindset, and it's also got more of what I, want to do moving forward. So you do have to ask yourself, do you enjoy what you're doing? And, there's niche sites that I'm building right now inside of Brand Creators Academy. I am not in love with those brands. I'm building them purely as a recurring revenue or an exit that I can sell, right? Like, so there are places and times for that, but you do need to identify what that is. But ultimately, you might need to take a few steps back in order to move forward to where you really, truly want to go. So the question is, in the next year, could you get that business to a sizable exit and then focus on that? And then you can still do your side thing, and kind of dedicate certain time. And then that way there, you're not taking away from that business and you can still build it and you're able to work on the enjoyment side. You get it? That's what I would probably do. So guys, let's wrap this up. We're going to keep this to 30. We're approaching 30 minutes now. Guys, do me a favor. If you guys are digging these and you guys want me to keep doing these, I'm planning on continuing and doing these. Probably do more of these little deep dives in the book. I've got a lot in here that I can share. I mean, the whole thing with take action mindset, what's holding you back. And then from there, I mean, we start digging into really like tactical stuff. This one here is good. Discover a future-proof you, because ultimately that's what we're doing, guys. Like, yes, we're building a business, but we're really building skill sets. And those skill sets are what's going to really create a future-proof you. So wipe everything away. Can you take those skills and go and create something? And the answer is most likely yes. Even in something you've done before. If you were in the pet grooming business before and you were doing that in a brick and mortar, well, you can take that and either do it again and make an income, or you can then start teaching people online about how to do the right proper grooming, right? So there's all different things you can do once you have the skills. But if you have the skills of marketing and building businesses, to me, that opens up even more. So that's just my thoughts on that. Let's see. We got Justin. I am stuck. I want to build a new brand, but want to run it faceless. How do I achieve this? Great question. And it's a good idea. If you are ever thinking about selling a business, it's always a great idea to create a brand that has multiple contributors. So that's what I would do. I would have a face or a spokesperson or even an image of the brand, but I would have it be contributors. So every writer, even if it's you, have that be a pen name of some kind, and that's a contributor. So we got Joe Smith as a contributor. We got Sally Sue, who's a contributor. And then you have these contributors that come in, and then your website is the resource for the market with all of these contributors. And those contributors can be experts that you pull from. You can do roundup posts, all of these cool things. So it's actually better to do it that route unless you are going to be a personal brand. So like for me, brand creators, the academy, all that stuff, it really has to do with me being part of that. So I'm not necessarily building that to really exit. I'm building that as something that I could use as coaching now and in the future. But ScottVoelker, that will probably keep evolving. And the ScottVoelker brand, which won't be able to be sold because there's only going to be one of me or one of you, right? But that is something that might be important for you if you're building a personal brand. But if you're building a brand like outside of that, then it can be faceless. The brands that we are building inside of the academy are pretty much faceless. They have contributors. There might be one person who is the one that's emailing, who is like, the person that is kind of conveying the message and is maybe the leader in there, but it doesn't mean it has to stay like that. It's kind of like, AT&T has had a face and then they have a new face, right? T-Mobile, same thing. It's like you can have the face, but then the face can kind of come and go. So hopefully that helps. Pedro, I'm the guy with the greatest ideas, but never take action. I'm being helped a friend's business, but when it comes to doing something for me, I always kill the idea thinking it would never work. Yeah. Validation is key, Pedro. And then also, even if you just did, like a small thing to really test it, might be the thing that you would need to do. But I get it, man. And it's kind of like the contractor. The contractor is always working on his house last. Everyone else's house gets done first. I know that myself from experience. If you were restarting today, would you start selling on Amazon? I wouldn't start on Amazon. I would use Amazon as the vehicle, as a sales channel, but I would not start on Amazon. And I think in anything, nowadays it's different. 3-4 years ago, you could start on Amazon with products and then from there build the brand around it. Now I would rather build the brand and then add the products later. That's what I would say. And then Pedro, I know is my own BS because I keep looking for what is my passion, etc. Yeah, and you know what? That's going to change too. Your passions, your interests are always going to probably evolve and change as you grow and experience new things, and it's totally normal. And trust me, I feel the same thing, man. I totally do. And right now, I'm actually going through a little bit of this struggle myself, and I'll be telling you guys more about it as we progress. And I'll give you like totally transparency. I'll let you guys know exactly how I'm working through it. But it does have to do with the amazing seller. It does have to do with brand creators, and it has to do with ScottVoelker. So I'll be letting you guys know more on that. But it's something that I'm constantly kind of struggling with. But I'm managing it and I'm dealing with it in a way that's positive. So this way here, I can satisfy the needs and wants that I need to feel fulfilled. Because that's what it comes down to. We want to feel fulfilled as well. And there's a lot of different ways that we can get that. But we have to grow in order to sometimes experience that. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this Friday Coffee Talk. I'm going to be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure that you mark your calendar or set the reminder so you can come back here and join me. And if there's something that you want me to dig into tomorrow, let me know. And we can do that. We can discuss that because that's what I want to do. I want to be able to show up here and serve you guys in any way that I can. All right. So be back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And if you have any questions then, I'll be more than happy to answer them. We can just hang out and have some coffee, tea, whatever you guys are drinking, and we can hang out. All right. So that is it, guys. That's going to wrap up this little coffee talk. I appreciate each and every one of you. Take care, take action, and I'll talk to you soon.